In this video, I'm going to talk about how our expectations sometimes ruin the actual experience. My name is Marianna Persisdottir. I'm a veterinarian and I've been trying to figure out how to live life happily ever after and all that. But some years ago, I noticed that my expectations were actually ruining more than they were helping. And that's the case for so many. How much do we have in our mind that this is going to be, this vacation is going to be, I'm going to be so happy, I'm going to sleep in the morning, then we go to the beach and I can relax and, everything. But then you go on the vacation and the kids wake up early. What did you expect? And they're not always in a good mood. I have 6 kids. So, no, I don't want to go to the beach, I want to go to the pool. Or something, they're not all happy all the time. And I can decide afterwards, when we have done something that day, that this was a terrible day because 1 out of 5 kids were whiny. Okay, kids are always whiny, especially the small ones. Oh, not always, but you know what I mean. That happens, and I can choose to say, okay, this day was ruined, or I can choose to say, it was a good day anyway, because I didn't expect more from them. And it's soon Christmas. How were your last Christmases, if you think about it? For me, it is important, I want a perfect Christmas. What is a perfect Christmas? It's not cleaning everything and having every window perfect. It's not baking 5 or 10 types of cookies. For us, I like, I have 6 kids, and before I had a burnout, I was trying to use as little energy as possible. So I just figured out, Christmas will come even if I bake or not. So we just bought some pepperkakor. You can buy some dough in the shop that's almost ready. You make it flat and make small figures. I don't know what you call that cake in English. Cookies. But at least, the point is, then we get good smell, the kids got to do what they wanted, and we have a very nice time without mixing all the ingredients with one kid running that, well, I have to poop, and whatever. Another thing about Christmas is, I of course expect all my kids to be happy with their presents. Yeah, I have 6 kids, and some years ago, especially one of them had this, he wanted the expensive bike and the expensive computer and all this big stuff. And even if I told him, we are not going to buy those things, we're going to buy something smaller, it was a couple of Christmases when he was so disappointed what he got. He just like, but in about 20 minutes, when it's gotten over his initial sadness about not getting what he really wanted, then he was okay. I could have chosen to let this ruin my Christmas, but I chose not to. I also, we often play games, and I could say, a perfect game night if when all the kids participate. Yeah, I have teens. Sometimes they come, sometimes they don't. But if you look at your Christmas, is the Christmas really good as it was last Christmas or the Christmas before? The actual experience, or if it's some Christmas that you're sad about, is it because the actual Christmas was bad, or because you expected it to be something that it was not? I can take more, weekends. We live in Norway, and in Norway, most people go out to nature. It's really fun. Especially with a whiny 3-year-old or 6-year-old or something. The 3-year-old you can put on your shoulders, that's not so bad. So how do we get the kids on? First rule in my house, I don't expect all 6 kids to come. Some will come, some won't. And how to get them all the way out there? I actually use bribes. Don't tell anyone. I know it's not allowed. So we have chocolate when we reach the point. Or, hot dogs, and light a little fire and warm hot dogs over the fire. It's really nice, actually. And one thing that's probably not relevant to the expectation thing, but when the kids reach whining age, it's actually they just got over, if they'd been a tad younger, they would be crying. And this whining just goes into my brain. But when I can, in my brain, switch to knowing whining is actually almost crying, then it's easier for me to just feel compassion instead of getting annoyed. It's really good to know. That was nature walks. Then we have when we want to make something, If you sit down with a kid and want to paint a beautiful picture to give to the grandparents. I really love people that make everything on Pinterest, and it's so pretty. With my kids, to sit down and get them to make what I want them to make, not happening. I can show you a recent example. Yesterday, one of my kids decided to have this. He was so happy to get a brick from the beach, and now he's painted it orange. I don't think I will give this to the grandparents. Easier one. Let's see. My 4-year-old. This is probably the 6-year-old. So you see, those are not Pinterest worthy, but they had a blast. We had paint everywhere, And it's so much fun if I allow them to do what they want instead of what I expect, and steer them into, the perfect thing that you can show somewhere. Because you know what happens? I have one that is 19, and look at her work. See? They learn anyway, even if I didn't make them do the picture perfect. My teenage boys don't paint like this, but it's not their interest. Then we have meditations. Years ago, when I wanted to learn to meditate, I thought meditating is quieting your mind and, and I don't think anything. Yeah, well, that's not gonna happen, sorry, folks, sorry to break the bubble. But so many people give up on meditating because they think meditating is emptying your mind. If you manage to empty your mind for 2-3 seconds, that's good. So for me, I use this transcendental meditation. It's essentially a mantra. When I notice my mind going to plan what to buy for Christmas or whatever, I just go back to the mantra. You can choose a mantra like, and my mind goes, we could have, milk, you're almost out of milk. And then I just pull it back. Instead of following, we need milk, and we need this, and this, and this, and this, I just stop and go back. So when my expectations of an empty mind disappeared, then I could enjoy meditating. Our minds are made for thinking, so the thoughts coming is actually okay. Then I have a big one. When I'm celebrating, I moved from Iceland to Norway. We have family in Iceland. We have family in Norway, 12 hours away or something, 9 maybe. And we have some family here. So let's say my kid is graduating, these words. And I expect all our family, I send out a lot of invitation, and I expect them all to come, and we're going to have a big party and everyone is happily ever after. If they then can't come, of some reason, it's too expensive, they're busy with their own lives, then I get disappointed. If I, on the other hand, just decide, okay, I'm going to send out all these invitations, but I actually just expect the grandparents that live here and my niece that is here, to come. So it's going to be small and cozy. Then, if the other ones decide to come, that's a plus. And I can get more excited, right? Instead of being disappointed that all those people didn't do as I wanted them to do. This was just in my mind. And then we have the big one, happiness. I actually listened to a Swedish doctor, his research with brains. He was talking about why are we so unhappy when everything is so good. And if you look at evolution, our brains are set to save us. Who survived? Is it, I already said this in one video, but if your ancestor was walking in the forest and the leaf go, if this was a lion, let's stick to a lion. If this was a lion and you didn't run away, you're dead. If this was just leaf rustling and you ran away, you live. So anxiety comes from predicting danger. And those that survived were those with the biggest anxiety to live. And we have to redefine what is happiness. Because I can decide, happiness is when I'm overly joyful, everyone is happy and everything's like, oh, perfect. Is that gonna happen? Not so much. This overjoy is very rare. We get it sometimes, I get very happy sometimes. But happiness is also being content with what I have despite it not being perfect. I mean, my life is obviously very perfect, but I would have preferred not to burn out, 2.5 years ago and then use months to get well again. It's still not working. And I would have preferred my sister not dying in an avalanche when I was a kid. It would be nicer, but life is what life is. And something is always happening. I can try as I want. I can accept. I have bad days. I have really bad days where I have a knot in my stomach. First time when I, was in veterinary school and went for months with this knot always inside. It wasn't until I learned meditating that I got rid of it. But now after my burnout, it's kind of there because my nervous system is set on run or freeze. And I'm trying to work my way out, meditating included. So, yeah, it was happiness. Redefine what happiness is. Don't compare, like they say on Facebook, don't compare your insides to someone else's outsides. You don't, pizza doesn't taste better just because you have perfect hair or perfect makeup or, thin body. And, oh my God, the expectations that, I have 6 kids. Oldest is almost 20 and youngest is 4. And it's a huge difference in the expectations to having a baby when I had my first and when I had my last. When I had my first, I was content just to sit with her a lot and go. With my youngest, I noticed you have to go and do this. You go to the mall, you go meet your friends, you go to baby swimming, you do this, and this. And if that's your expectation, how, if you have difficult birth, and like I was dizzy for a week one time, I lost a lot of blood, I almost couldn't stand, and you get depressed because all the hormones go haywire, you don't feel so happy all the time. If it's really bad, you need help for this. But the expectation, if you look at those Instagram picture perfect things, is, oh, I had a baby, I'm still pretty, I'm thin again, and now I'm very strong, and it's 6 weeks since I had my baby. And I'm like, what the fuck? Sorry. Beep. I'm not supposed to say that. But if my expectation is, oh, I had this baby, and this baby, especially for the first 3 months, it actually needs just closeness. So then I don't get disappointed to use 6 weeks on the couch and watching Friends or something. Or like one of my kids, he couldn't sleep alone when he was a baby in the middle of the day. So I used to just sit in the middle of my bed, put baby just next to my feet and have a computer. Then I could write. I love writing. And then it was perfect for me. But I didn't clean. I didn't go meet my friends. I didn't. A lot of things I didn't do until he was a little bit bigger. But if I adjust my expectations, I love this time. I could have gone, oh, I couldn't go for walks. It was horrible. It was actually in the middle of winter. It's a December child. So walking with the pram isn't happening here in Norway that much. I just chose to accept and enjoy what was, not what I thought would be. And last one. The expectation to my husband. I've been married now for 19 years and we've been together for like 23 or something. I don't expect him to make me happy. I expect him to treat me decently and take his part of the workload. I absolutely love him. He makes me laugh. He cleans more than I do. He's actually really good at it. And we have this work. The workload is, he does a lot, I do a lot, and I don't take the third shift. But I don't have this expectation that he should entertain me, that he should make me happy. I can get friends if I want to talk about something that doesn't interest him. You know, he is a guy after all. I go to my friends. And we don't have to do the same thing. It's really good that we have some things that we enjoy together. We both enjoy walking in nature. I don't enjoy fishing, which he loves. I, plan in the future when we can go together to stuff like this. Now one is usually at home babysitting. Then we can just, he can go fish and I can go take pictures because that's what I love. Then we can go together. So if we have something together, then it's okay to have other things apart. As long as this other thing apart doesn't take so much from the things we need to do together. You hear about these guys that are playing computer 24/7. I expect more of my husband than that. But anyway, I have one assignment for you. Look at your last month or year and something that disappointed you. Look at the situation and find out why did this disappoint me. Was it because it was actually a bad experience? Or was it because I expected something else? Thank you. And if you like this, please subscribe and hit this pling button that they say. I don't remember what it's called. I love burnout brain.